Look, I'm hardly going to be the one to argue against Will Howard. I was the one arguing in favor of him for weeks leading up to the draft. He was the quarterback in this class that I hoped would be Pittsburgh's choice. Didn't think it would happen in the 6th round, but it did. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. Comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates, the other two teams in town that I cover. I hope you'll take the time to check those out as well. Rookie minicamp formally closed up yesterday on the South Side. That session wasn't open to media. The first two were. I covered the opening session, and when it came to the Steelers' newest player at their most important position, I was struck by two things. One, and I don't care how corny this comes across, he might have the biggest legs I've ever seen on a quarterback. When I say big, I'm obviously not talking about tall, because that wouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Everybody knows everyone's height when they come out of a draft. I mean that they're just massive. They're like, well, I was going to say a tight end's legs, but his legs make Pat Freiermuth look like pencils. The guy that comes to mind, don't hold this against me in terms of analysis. If the guy who came to mind was Jukes Okorafor, now Jukes is a massive dude. But that's actually what I was thinking and watching this kid out there. Second impression is that there's nothing on the field, not even Howard's legs, that is bigger than Howard's smile. It's amazing. This kid is not an act. He's not putting on a show. He's not trying to rev up everybody and let you know that I'm here and I'm your guy or any of that stuff. He is just legitimately that happy. And when you see his teammates around him, you see also that it's contagious. He'll come up to somebody and you'll see that other person start smiling. Listen to him here. This is just his response when asked about coming in as a 6th rounder, as a rookie, and all that other stuff.
You know, I'm just treating it like any other day, man. Like I just want to come in here. I want to learn. I want to get better, and that's how I'm looking at this. You know, who knows what happens, man? Like I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about myself and learning and getting better through the process. I understand I'm a rookie and I don't know what I don't know, and I, you know, whoever's in the room, you know I just met Mason and obviously I know Skylar pretty darn well, but you know, it's a great room. I'm blessed to be a part of it, and I just can't wait to get to work and learn from those guys, learn from, you know, Arthur and Tom and Bake and everybody.
You can just feel that energy, and people are legitimately stoked. I can feel that too. Fans are talking about him. Fans are asking about him. Fans are projecting an awful lot for him. Okay? And I get that. It's a quarterback. It's not a normal position, and it's not a normal year for the Steelers to be getting a quarterback. Some of us remember what it was like when Mason Rudolph was drafted. And it just, honestly, other than to Ben Roethlisberger, who would go publicly and complaining about it, really wasn't that big of a deal. Who'd they get in the 3rd round? Oh, really? Quarterback? Huh, that's interesting. Oh, well, what else is on the menu? This time it's different because quarterback is all of the focus, as it should be. And because there's still no word from Aaron Rodgers, and because there's still no declaration from anybody associated with the Steelers about Rudolph and whether or not he would be the starter, or if they would try to go out and get somebody else, or what would happen if Mason was a starter, what do you do behind him? Because it's mid-May and there's that much uncertainty, you can look at this kid and say, yeah, he's the one. Well, maybe he is. And yeah, I know, I've read the scouting reports and I understand the multiple different explanations that are out there for why he fell to the 6th round. But I also know, and I made this point many, many times in advance of the draft, his Mike Tomlin arrow is pointing way upward. He did nothing but get better, appreciably better, over the course of Ohio State's national championship season, most prominently in the 4 playoff games that the Buckeyes had. Those turned out to be his 4 best games, not least of which was completing 14 of his 15 passes in the actual championship game against Notre Dame. That's not everything as traits go in a quarterback, but it's a lot. So is the head that's on his shoulders. So is some of the tangible ability to improve through getting better at reading defenses, getting better at knowing when to pull the trigger and when not. He's got all that. But I'm going to do some bubble bursting here that you don't necessarily have to take seriously. But the people running the Steelers, this is not an opinion on my part. This is not a stance that I'm willing to take or whatever here, because I really don't have a stance on a 6th-round quarterback coming in and playing a lot of football that season. But it wouldn't count if I did. What does count is what they're going to do. They, I can tell you, have made crystal clear that he's QB3, that he's going to be QB3 in any scenario. So if Rodgers comes in, he's QB1, Mason's QB2, and the kid is QB3. If Rodgers decides to do whatever it is that he's going to do, then Mason is maybe QB1. Somebody else comes in as either QB1/2, most likely 2 in that case, because there's just not much out there. And the kid still ends up at 3, which honestly, it's fine. It really is. For one, and this is actually kind of cool if you think about it, he's going to get a ton of playing time in the 3 preseason games. Like a ton. Because that's how those roll. You hardly use your QB1 at all. Your QB2 comes in and gets you to halftime, and then QB3 comes in and just has all of the rest of the night. At least until you get to your, Duck Hodges portion of the program. But the other thing is, he can learn. He met Mason at the facility over the weekend, described it as great. Met Skylar Thompson, too. Don't forget, he's still around. He can pick up on a lot. He can be inside the NFL world at the facility, at practices. Of course, when you get out to Latrobe, when here again, there are a lot of reps. Not as much as 1 and 2 in those cases, but still a lot. And I'm just going to leave it at this. I have not heard from anybody as to why he's not ready, because I never get an answer that's more detailed than, he's new. He's a rookie, but they're emphatic about it. And to me, what's most important, and again, I'm going to go back to something that I was talking about a lot before the draft. I feel like it's a must for the Steelers to line up as many potential candidates as possible, quantity in addition to the quality, to become that franchise quarterback. Right now, at this point in the year 2025, they don't know, they can't know what to expect from Howard. There's no point, none, in banking on him in any capacity. That's why you add assets like the one they got for George Pickens, so they can have the capacity to move up and get a quarterback that they would really covet at the head of the 2026 class. You have to have all those options open to you, or all you're going to do is anoint some kid, and that's not going to go well, no matter who the kid is. When we come back, J1Q.
Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454.
Today's J1Q comes from Jason, who says, DK, it sure sounds like George Pickens' comments on social media showed everyone that the Steelers made the right move in trading him, didn't they? This happened, for anybody who missed it yesterday, on Instagram. Comment section underneath an interview that involved Peyton Wilson and Beanie Bishop. Not that they had anything to do with this. This was just him responding to what he was looking at on the platform. And I mean, I'm not going to read this verbatim because there's just no way to do it cleanly. But in reference to the way the Steelers have some long-term plan, or they're talking about stacking players over the course of multiple years, that was the subject in the show. And George writes, quote, "They, the cheapest organization, ain't no stacking year after year. They gonna let them," a word I'd never say, "go too soon as it's time." LMAO, which is laugh my rear end off. So George deletes the comment, then denies that he ever even put it up, blamed it on AI, and that's the new cyber version of the dog ate my homework. And yeah, I mean, he is what he is. This is the stuff that I was talking about. This is stuff that a lot of people don't get to see. And yeah, he's made a fool of himself on social before, but you got to understand there's a special level of not thinking this through. When you're doing this stuff, you're with a new team. You're on a lame duck contract. They've kind of already made it clear that they're not going to sign you to an extension either, but also that you really haven't let go of your ex just yet, because not only did you have this response, but what were you even doing looking up the Instagram reel that had your two buddies from the previous team talking about how the Steelers are planning on stacking years? So here's guessing that George's agent, David Mulugheta, who's one of the brighter and more prominent agents in the National Football League, got a hold of him and might have said something like, "Listen, you either get that thing down or you're going to find some new representation here because you're not working with me at all." But that's who he is. And speaking only for myself here, I mean, to me, as we're talking right now, unless it's something that directly pertains to Pittsburgh or the Steelers or his time here, I really don't care. I feel like it's fair to share with you when someone comes along who's impressive as a person, seems like someone who would fit in with the team dynamic, someone who would contribute to the culture rather than take away from it. I give you examples to that effect, I hope, countless times over the course even of a week. This guy, and maybe you'll start believing it now, this is addition through subtraction. But I appreciate the question, Jason. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers, and we're going to be back with another one of these tomorrow. Don't forget, Double Shot of Steelers, our live video, comes your way at 4 p.m. Eastern on both YouTube and, of course, on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app and website.